Uganda Airlines outlines its niche in the aviation industry. And on the regional front, South Africa seeks to mend its strained trade ties with the United States. Sit tight, it's time for business. In our first report, sector players in Uganda's creative industry say they are laboring in vain and are now demanding recognition and support from government to bolster their contribution to national development. While government attention remains focused on the so-called ATM sectors, agro-industrialization, tourism, mining and ICT, players in the creative space feel neglected and undervalued despite the industry being a low-hanging fruit. We have more details.
Uganda's creative industry is rich with untapped potential, an avenue capable of transforming the economy and create employment for thousands, if not millions of talented youth. The creative industry encompasses sectors of the economy that involve the generation, production, and distribution of goods and services that rely on creativity, talent, and intellectual property. Rachel Magola, an artist and the chairperson of the Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Creative Industries, says the country has witnessed firsthand the power of creativity to drive economic growth. However, the industry continues to struggle for recognition and the much-needed support from policymakers to enable sector players to thrive.
When you're scattered in different ministries, you're going to find that the creative economy is the unfunded priority in all the ministries because it is not a core function. So agriculture will not take care of the creative economy. Trade will not, because that's not their core function.
Analysts from the public and private sector, along with the development partners, agree that strengthening Uganda's creative landscape will require coordinated and sustained efforts.
The creative economy has the opportunity to leapfrog and support a growth generation, and that's the business that we want to support. Young people thriving and earning income at scale and being supported, and that's where the link to government very importantly comes in, because there's a certain point where absolutely you need enabling policies at government to do business.
I think there's so much data out there now. Now there's need for us now to bring this data closer, make a good case, and say that this is the potential that this can actually contribute to the national GDP. Those are the numbers that the PSST, Ministry of Finance, is looking for.
The recently released Moonshot 8 report outlines actionable strategies to elevate the status of the creative industry in Uganda and across the African continent. This includes legal and policy reforms, robust financing frameworks, enhanced market access tools, and capacity building at all levels of governance.
There are so many young people operating within this space that have products and innovations that can compete at global levels. We now begin to speak about trade, we speak about AFCFTA, and so this is why part of the report really speaks to the intersectoral readiness, the various sectors that come into play in supporting the creative economy.
Despite the ongoing rhetoric from the government about the value of the creative sector.
You are visible as artists, and I already mentioned this. Don't feel that you're not visible. Your talent is indeed recognized. We treasure you as you continue to take out more works on products of your labor. Your creativity is your capital, your economic capital, and let no one ever diminish your worth.
What do we promise? We promise the following: equitable remuneration. Equitable because sometimes, because you are an asset, so those who have money invest in you, then they can easily enslave you.
However, the reality on the ground tells a different story.
I have a song which plays every day on radio. I'm not earning a penny for it being played on radio. So all this WIPO, YP, it's all rhetoric. The artist, even me who could go and bang their doors and get my money, there's nothing. The taxation regime in Uganda is quite prohibitive to any kind of business. We need to do things that support the growth. But when you tax somebody out of business, I don't know what your plan is. And the creative economy especially, when you look to the filmmakers, the amount of money taxed on cameras, on anything that goes onto a camera, is very prohibitive. So we need to look in there. And the biggest problem is it is not uniform. You will see in the news a Chinese company coming here, and they come in tax-free and will get free land. We hope government is going to give the creative economy free land, and we build the hubs that we want to see.
Examples of creative industries include fashion design, music and performing arts, film and television, visual arts and craft, architecture, publishing, among others.
At the global contribution to GDP, it's immense, right? It's in trillions of dollars, but Africa's take on it is so limited. There's a gap, right? We know that globally it is one of the major contributors to GDP. But Africa's play in that space is so limited because of understanding of what is the creative economy.
According to UNCTAD Creative Economy Outlook and other global benchmarks, Africa currently holds only 1.5% of the global creative economy, with just 0.6% of the global royalty collections and a mere 9% of global creative employment. Dennis Igor for UBC.
With Uganda Airlines preparing to launch its highly anticipated direct flight between Entebbe and London this month, CEO Jennifer Bamuturaki says the airline is prepared to deliver top-tier service to passengers on the new route. She adds that the new connection will not only link Uganda to the UK, but also ease connectivity across the African continent.
We are prepared with time. You know what we offer. No one else can offer it out of this country. We offer time, shortened. So yes, you can take me around the world, you can give me a beautiful lounge, you can give me a beautiful service internally and on board, but braving 16 hours, and that's the difference we made when we launched Lagos, Abuja. A lot of that was cut off. We were asked the same question. Even now, we have partners and competitors that have increased schedules, daily, double daily. We still have people coming via because it's shorter. So London, for me, is a game changer, absolute game changer. First of all, it's so difficult to connect Africa with Africa. It's very difficult. Sometimes you have to go off the continent. One time we were going for an Afra event in Senegal. We had to go to Dubai and then down to Senegal. Imagine that. So it's about connecting Africa and connecting Africa to off the continent and connecting the continent to Uganda. When we bring in tourists, these people are going to go into the hotels, go into the national parks, go into the markets. So much is going to change. Look at what we're going to open up for cargo. They've been going via. Now, we're going to stimulate more people carrying cargo to London.
In more news, government is to consider the national identification number to be used as an alternative of tax identification number to remit taxes to the Uganda Revenue Authority. Government also proposes an exemption of citizens starting up businesses from tax for 3 years, but the Finance Committee of Parliament asked that the period be extended to 5 years. We have more.
The Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development in charge of General Duties, Henry Musasizi, has appeared before the Finance Committee of Parliament to defend the tax bills of 2025. Among the bills include the Income Amendment Bill 2025, which proposes an extension of tax waiver to Bujagali Hydropower Dam. This move has remained a nightmare as some MPs cite foul play in the process.
That whole contract has so many issues. And now we sit here as a parliament and continue to give exemptions.
And one of the recommendations that we looked at was renegotiation of this contract. And I remember when you had the engagement with the Attorney General, he agreed that it was done at a time when the country was desperate because of power shortage.
Several reports, including of the Auditor General and Parliament Ad Hoc Committee, recommended recovery of some taxes from Bujagali investments, but in vain.
By the fact that you are now proposing that we extend to 30th June 2032, are you convinced with the recommendations? Have they been worked on that we can now look at extending the exemption?
Last financial year, Parliament declined to give us anything. We went back to HE, the President, and he insisted that that waiver must be provided.
The Income Tax Amendment Bill 2025 also seeks to exempt citizens who start a business from tax for 3 years, but the MPs request for 5 years instead.
This proposal deals with new startups, new SMEs which fall within that category. And where we are coming from is that we could observe that the majority of SMEs, startups, actually do not live beyond the first year.
The move is to increase market access, especially to the East African region, since the citizenship covers East African community.
And that's what we already have, even for all the incentives within the tax laws.
Members, let's first listen from the Minister.
I want to plead with the committee that much as we want to be Ugandans, we should know that in terms of market, we are looking at the East African community market.
The Uganda Revenue Authority is looking at considering the use of NIN numbers to remit taxes contrary to the TIN numbers.
They were having problems, so this would facilitate especially those up country. But the question is, your current system with all these ledger problems you talked about, can you hold all that information?
The URA has integrated with the NIRA, NITA, and URSB. And the current integration activities include all other MDAs where such information is required.
Another area was the issue of the penalties under IFRIS, as government is to phase out the 6 million charges for defaulters, but rather double the penalty.
Isn't there a limit if someone now, the default is about 100 million, you double? Is there a ceiling? What is your opinion?
6 million appeared to be unreasonable in some circumstances.
When asked whether the current status quo penalizes the defaulters of tax through IFRIS, Minister Musasizi responded in tongues.
If you default, should there be a penalty or not? The answer is there should be. Should the penalty be 6 million or less? So in circumstances where the default is less, you should be charged something reasonable.
Musasizi also denied knowledge of any said executive order stopping a 6 million charge on defaulters of IFRIS.
There is an executive order. Have you harmonized with the president?
I need to check whether we have an executive order. Because I have not personally seen it.
Cayenne Faith, Dan Mugoya, BBC.
Keep getting affected by inflation and other factors.
The Uganda National Bureau of Standards is warning supermarket owners and operators against stocking products that are not certified. A recent market surveillance and inspection exercise by the standards body unearthed several irregularities in stocking and labeling. Take a look. Uganda National Bureau of Standards has cautioned supermarket owners against stocking goods that lack proper certification. The warning was issued during an interface with supermarket owners and operators within Kampala and Greater Kampala to address import inspection processes based on the 2022 regulations.
As the loopholes have been that some items actually come here without certificate of conformity, come into the country without certificate of conformity. And when they reach here, they have to go through all the tedious processes of sampling, testing, and waiting until the samples are out. And sometimes samples come out from the lab when they are not when they are showing actually failure.
This meeting is vital to enhancing quality standards and ensuring consumer protection for a safer shopping experience, says Sylvia Cherabo, the Principal Public Relations Officer at UNBS.
Locally manufactured products that should be on the shelves, that should be sold in supermarkets, must be those that are certified by UNBS as a basis for us to be sure that what Ugandans are getting is safe and will not harm their health and safety. So we've had some market surveillance inspections around the country, and we found out that some new players in the supermarket sector are stocking products that are not certified, and sometimes when they have stock that has expired, they take advantage and sell this to unsuspecting consumers, and yet this is
As the
not
population grows and
acceptable.
supermarkets and mini markets rapidly increase across the country, the business community have become an easy target for unscrupulous dealers who supply uncertified or substandard products. Unfortunately, this puts retailers at risk during inspections.
One producer was caught and going to be fined because of not satisfying his products, and the same producer was saying no, the one who should be fined is the supermarket where those products were found. But now, to my knowledge, it should be the producer, and even UNBS should be cautioned. It's their role to reach out to those producers and to confirm whether their products are satisfied or not.
They are educating us over how it works and how we as supermarket owners can really comply, because it's an initiative by government to ensure that we work together with UNBS in ensuring that we comply.
In regard to the pre-export verification of conformity, importers must ensure they obtain a certificate of conformity. This helps prevent losses when products are rejected for failing to meet Uganda's standards.
But we want to now evaluate, is it answering the original call, the original intention, why it was put in place. Now, after that, we go into what can we change to make it more effective, to ensure it answers that particular question that was there at the beginning.
Maureen Babidie for the Business Roundup. In another report, DEI Group of Companies, a company known for its pharmaceutical manufacturing work, headed by Dr. Matthias Magola, has now ventured into organic fertilizer production. A fertilizer called Organic New Earth, abbreviated ONE, has been launched.
I'm known by the name Kamiza Moses of the Group of Companies.
The global value for organic food was estimated to be 228 billion United States dollars in 2024. And by then, it was projected to even grow up to $253 billion in 2025. Uganda is an agricultural country, and we desire to transform this country from peasantry to modernity. And we want also to make money. Organic agriculture is a subject that makes money. It's a market-oriented farming system. A farming system that does not use or does not encourage the use of agricultural inputs from chemical and synthetic materials, but rather a system that promotes the use of agricultural inputs, and that is fertilizers, pesticides made from natural origin.
Uganda, as a country, has the lowest usage level of fertilizers, probably the world. the usage stands at 2 kgs per hectare, as opposed to Kenya, which is 32 kgs per hectare. Rwanda, 29 kgs per hectare. Tanzania is somewhere between 6 and 8 kgs per hectare. So Uganda, basically, we are at the lowest consumption level of fertilizers. And what does this mean? Our productivity is going down and down and down by the day. You find in Kenya where a farmer is able to get 40 bags of maize out of 1 acre, Uganda we are getting 10 bags. And this is basically because of what we use, what we give our soils, the application rates, when we apply fertilizer, and how we do things. And if we don't change, I can assure you that we shall be top on the list of those countries that need help in terms of food insecurity.
We are going to expand capacity because the good news is that they have allowed us to use this product to export to the rest of Africa. So we want to use this so that our products can meet that standard and we start exporting to the markets that it has not been possible to export before. I therefore request you to give us support, to work together. This is for you. Me with my technologies, with my patents, with my pharmaceuticals, with my other industries, I'm comfortable. But a country cannot grow without touching the lives of the ordinary people. I want the people down to benefit from this. That's why you've seen we put demonstration gardens for people to come and learn from us. And also we are going to link directly with the market, and we are going to work hand in hand with you to ensure that Uganda gets out of the problem. I thank you so much.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed a former Deputy Finance Minister to negotiate with the US on trade matters, particularly to address the impact of President Trump's tariffs. Take a look.
With US President Donald Trump's campaign to make America great again, South Africa looks set to lose its duty-free benefits under AGOA. The citrus industry, an important contributor to the economy, is just one of the sectors that will be hard hit.
What is significant in South Africa is 77 to 85% of South African citrus is exported to world markets. It earns something like 31 billion a year or 35 billion a year in revenue.
It will get even harder after the US president's 3-month reprieve is up. With a 30% tariff hike, South Africa will struggle to compete with other citrus exporting countries like Spain at 20% and Brazil with a 10% minimum base tariff.
The problem is that for those areas in South Africa that produce specifically for the US and have access, it's virtually everything. If you take that out, I mean, you will decimate the 35,000 jobs.
More jobs are at risk in the automotive industry, another beneficiary under AGOA. In 2023, the US was South Africa's third biggest auto export market by value. The poultry industry might be spared as South Africa sells little poultry to the US, but US chicken imports may become very expensive and weigh on consumers. In 2017, during Trump's first term in office, American trade officials demanded South Africa import chicken from the US duty-free in return for another 10 years under AGOA.
If we have lost AGOA benefits, then government should withdraw the AGOA quota and not give that benefit to the US.
Trading in new markets will help to soften the blow, but losing AGOA, an agreement that has been in place for over 20 years, will be detrimental to this economy and to South Africans. Thousands of jobs are at risk, and the tariffs will push up inflation, placing even more pressure on consumers. The South African Reserve Bank has already warned that the economy could decline by up to 0.7 percentage points if South Africa is pushed out of the duty-free agreement. Sumitra Nadu, CGTN, Johannesburg.
These 5,000 people are the people who are tested, confirmed to have the practical experience. Because as you know, electricity is a good servant, but a very bad master. If you don't know what you are doing, you can end up burning people's premises, but also endangering yourself through short circuits. So these people are trained and they are available to support directors and individuals, but also now they are the ones who supervise these companies. And we encourage the companies to ensure these people who we authorize, we certify, because they are the competent people, should sit where decisions are being made.
Now, the breathtaking Para Bridge, a vital connection between Western Uganda, the West Nile region, and Northern Uganda, sets the scene for this edition of Sounds of Business. As we reflect on International Labour Day, let's not overlook women's unpaid domestic labour. Its exclusion from the economy masks its true value. If compensated, it could rival major industries. Recognizing it is key to addressing career regression for women and the profound impact their labour has on society. Thank you for being with us to the very end of the show. I'm Maureen Babidia. From me and the team, good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Mikulu Business Expo kumi pilabili mwetano ine komyewo wakati wena mwezi mwenda paka 11 Mei Lugugu Uma Showgrounds event service providers na business endala zona